Okay, so back to the frame. We're going to mount the motors on now, and I've already got the propeller and the mounting plate on the motor, and I've got some screws in here. And this mounts directly into the holes that I've drilled in the frame. Now, this is just something I add on here. It's just a plastic round lens, once again from the surplus store. It would be better if it was metal, but I wanted to just go ahead and provide a little rigidity this way on the motor. So I've got two screws that hold it on, and then I've got the plate that just adds a little rigidity. Now, it's plastic. I know it's not real strong, but it'll hopefully help a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on. Okay, those are my 4 motors. Now, one thing I didn't mention was that when I put these on, this is actually the front, and so I've put my propellers on in the right direction. And I'll show you where that is in the manual. But in the manual, it gives all the different configurations and the directions of the propellers. On a plus configuration quad, I need the front and back propeller to be clockwise. That's the front and back. And then I need the right and left to be counterclockwise. And that's how a quad works, right? We're going to use counter-rotating propellers in order to counteract the force, the torque created by the motors. A helicopter has a tail rotor to prevent the unwanted yaw, right? So we use counter-rotating propellers front and back, right and left, to counteract that force. So okay, there's my motors. Now I need my speed controllers. I have no idea what direction these motors are going to spin when I turn them on. Better to just go ahead and connect them up, and we'll figure that out when we turn them on, and we can switch these barrel connectors. That's why we use barrel connectors, and get the right direction. Okay, I've got my 4 speed controllers. They're kind of flopping around here. That's no good. I need to add some tie wraps. So tie wraps are really useful. You're going to need some wire cutters to be able to cut off the ends. But I'm going to go ahead and mount these. Let's mount them on the bottom. I'm going to turn my quad over. I'm mounting them face down only because they're a bit flatter on the label side. Not too hard, just enough to hold them on there. Okay, now, this is when we mount our wire harness. So I've got a bunch of different wires here. These are all going to go on the other side, so I'm going to put them down here. Get them out of the way. These are the wires I need, and they're going to attach to my wire harness. Alright, I know that's a little messy and probably hard to look at, but the idea is I've got a connection to each one of my ESCs, and that looks good. Okay, now I've got an added component in here because I need to mount the battery on the bottom. I've made this little wooden plate, and this is going to mount on top of my wire harness. Keeps things a little prettier and will give me a nice platform to mount my battery on. These are just nylon screws, and I've got an aluminum standoff and a plastic nut. Now for this I used plastic simply because I wanted a nice round, soft head on this side. I didn't want the battery to be compressed against like a hard socket cap. You've got to be very careful with these lipos in terms of denting them. That's when the damage happens. There, that's my battery platform. Now, I'm going to add this strap, and that'll hold my battery on for me. And then that gives me my loop for my battery. And I've got my wire harness here off to the side. Now I've got a few extra things here. One is I've got a few wires. I'm going to take, this is the power for the Hoverfly Pro. I'm going to put that through my pass-through hole here. Now I've got my power. And then the other is this alarm. I want to be able to hear that from the ground, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it right here on one of the arms. Okay, so that's the bottom of the quad. And now I'm ready for the Hoverfly Pro. Now on this craft, this is the front. And you see on the board where it says front, I know the writing's upside down, but that white line should be facing forward. So the white line is, and this is the forward direction. So I've got the front here. Notice I've got those vibration grommets. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these nuts down on top. Am I getting a wrench? No, I'm going to hand tighten these. I'm going to hand tighten them because the vibration grommets don't work if you squish them between two nuts. It should just begin to mush down the tops of the vibration grommet. And that's just enough. It's just holding the board on there so it doesn't flop around. And that's really nice. It's not flopping around, so that's great. Since I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and connect my power. This is the power connection from the battery harness. I can connect it as long as I've got power in the middle and ground on one of the sides. It doesn't matter which way I connect it here. Ground is on both sides, so I can flip it over if I want. Doesn't matter. Now that's kind of messy, so I'm gonna come under here. It's a little nicer. Okay, that's that. Now I need to connect all of these wires. These are to my ESCs, and to do that, I want to check the manual.